If you pass under the bridge that takes you into Jamestown, Pennsylvania, and look around, nothing really stands out. But for David Vaverka's family, these everyday sights bring back emotional memories.
That day when his body came up from Pittsburgh, it was an amazing experience. I mean, a terribly sad experience, but at the same time, to see the streets lined like they were, and the veterans standing there saluting, and young kids with flags.
And the people on the streets holding flags and waving, it was just a memory that will stay with me forever, and I will go to my death just remembering how kind everyone was and the support that they had given us.
David was a staff sergeant in the Army. He died after an improvised explosive device detonated. After the news of his death made it home, an overwhelming amount of support followed.
The cards I received, and the flowers at the funeral, I mean, they were from people we didn't even know. I mean, we had thousands of cards.
And in the midst of all of those sympathy cards, there was only one with a different kind of message.
I'm leafing through them, and there was a card, and I saw my son's name on it. And I just went kind of nuts, and I go, my God, this is from David. And it was my Mother's Day card. He said how much he loved me and that I was the very best.
A bouquet of flowers from David showed up a day later for his mom, just as the people of Jamestown sent flowers to remind her and David's family that they were not alone.
I was in such awe over everything that they did, and it really makes you appreciate a small town. I really appreciated the fact that I grew up here and actually missed the fact that I wasn't still living here.
Even to this day, the people here in Jamestown have figured out a way to pay tribute to David. They retired his number at the high school after he played basketball, and in just a couple of weeks, this bridge is going to be dedicated in his honor.
In May, it will be 5 years without David.
First couple of weeks when everybody's there, you know, you don't really, it doesn't settle in for a while. And, you know, there's still times that you really, you know, every day, it's tough.
It's only recently that David's parents and siblings can talk about what they experienced.
It truly doesn't get easier, but I do finally find that I'm able to talk a little more about it. And to especially now take the time, and I appreciate this, to just be able to thank all the people of Jamestown for everything that they did.
This one just came from Mentor, Ohio.
His patients range from brand new to very old. Sometimes they just need new stitching. Other times it's an internal operation.
I do it for the love of it. Yeah, there is some money involved in making a few bucks and covering some of the costs, but for the most part, it's a passion for me.
Meet the glove doctor, Mike Wilkinson. In his home workshop, he repairs thousands of baseball mitts a year for owners who can't part with their gloves.
They don't want to give it up because it's broken in. It's like an old pair of shoes. Once they get comfortable, you don't want to get rid of them.
Wilkinson started out teaching himself how to fix his kids' gloves.
I used to do it like this.
Now he receives work from coast to coast. He breaks in mitts, stitches damaged ones with a 1917 Singer.
So now we've finished that part of it.
And he can relace a mitt in an hour.
I'm not opposed to telling people either that I don't think you need a new glove. Let's put, you know, a few bucks in this one.
Sometimes he doubles the life of a worn-out glove at about half the price of a new one.
I try to fix everything, but it's gotten to the point now where some of the gloves are of a lot of man-made material. They're inexpensive gloves, and when they tear, it's just really not worth it.
But for the ones that are worth it, Wilkinson has designed his own needles for lacing.
I don't have that many, so I don't let them out of my sight.
Mike goes through more of this leather lacing than any other supply in his shop, because your average glove has about 13 feet of rawhide lacing.
This time of year, the glove doctor can spend 12 hours a day in his shop.
Fortunately, I am retired. Unfortunately, I'm a Delphi salaried retiree. So it's been a hobby business up for most of my career. Lately, with all that's gone on, it's helped offset some of the increased costs.
His website brings in enough shipments to keep him lacing all day in work he enjoys.
When you have a young person come up to you and said, "Hey doc, I love my glove," that's the satisfaction Worth everything that you've done.
giving old, worn-out patients a chance at extra innings.
That is, once you restore a glove that somebody's, quote, not wanting to use, they like it so well they start using it again, put the new one aside.
With more local news, I'm Sally Phillips.
So that's how we would do the fingers, and then the next step would be to take all of this.
Customers have been coming to the window at the Salem Dairy Queen since 1948.
There you are. Thank you. You're welcome.
It's the same building, same location.
The Miller family bought it in 1956 because their patriarch, Howard, just loved ice cream.
My husband was a very good customer and was to the day he died.
Joseph Miller grew up in his parents' West State Street shop.
I thought that like everyone's parents had a Dairy Queen store, and after the baseball games, everyone went to their parents' store and had, you know, a sundae or a milkshake.
The Millers have kept the Dairy Queen ever since.
A good quality product is a must, a clean environment, good employees.
And recently, the store's advertising company informed them that they're the oldest Dairy Queen in the state.
I was very surprised when I heard that, because I knew how he got started.
And 63 years later, the Millers are still the territory operators for Dairy Queens in Columbiana County. A spokesperson for Dairy Queen tells me the company doesn't have the records dating back to the 1940s when the first stores like this one opened. They said that this location very well could be the oldest in the state. The Millers were shocked that they've outlasted so many.
Today's like a disposable world we live in, and it's just nice knowing that things is still the same.
And many of the customers are the same as well.
And a small chocolate cone? Is that everything?
I've really been the only one right here in this area for a really long time. So it is nice.
The Millers say they've been successful because people can afford their sweet treats.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Thank you.
And despite the rising cost of the product, we try to keep it extremely low because it is economically a treat for people to come here.
And continue to visit for years to come. With more local news, I'm Sally Phillips.
Just like every song has a story to tell, so does the legendary King's Music in Sharon.
We've really tried to get instruments in the hands of the kids that want them the most. Even if the parents couldn't afford to get them, we made it work.
The music store has been a part of the city's downtown since Phil and Evelyn King first opened the business in April of 1932. But now, 79 years later, the historic music house is forced to play its final swan song.
Of course it's sad, you know, it's King's Music. It was been a, you know, like a tradition in downtown Sharon.
The store's current owners, Russ and Kathy Saylor, hoped this day would never come.
With the increase in internet sales and the competition with Guitar Center and the bigger box stores and that, it's just too hard to compete for a small mom and pop store anymore.
People don't come downtown. There's, you know, 3 businesses mainly downtown, and the rest of them are just struggling like us, and you can only do it so long.
The couple even tried to sell the store in an attempt to keep the music playing. But when the economy hit a sour note, it was too much to overcome. Longtime music instructor and musician Max Shang says with 100 students still invested in lessons that include guitar and piano, a local church will step in to fulfill the historic store's mission and to make sure that the music never dies.
It filled a great need in the community.
With more local news, I'm Michelle Nix.
Fosse Tabor has a don't mess with me or my family attitude. On Saturday, the 74-year-old went to her son's home on Wick Street in Warren to take him some fresh fruit. What she found was a broken window, the door open, and 2 intruders inside.
I walked in on him and I asked him, "Where's my son?" He says, "I live here." I said, "You don't live here." I said, "This is my house." And he grabbed a knife. He says, "Don't come to me." He said, "Don't you come." I said, "Where's my son?"
The grandmother tells us when the teen, who appeared to be about 16 years old, pulled a butcher knife like this one, she surveyed her surroundings, shielded her grandson, placing him behind her, and grabbed a skillet.
First thing I saw was a skillet. And I grabbed and hit him across the head as hard as I could. Then they ran out the loop and said, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Then the bad guy left the door open.
Tabor tells us she's tracked down information about the two thugs to this neighborhood and is hoping for a quick arrest. The 74-year-old adds if they come back, she'll be waiting. This grandmother who retired from GM tells us she wasn't scared, just angry, and that's where her instincts and past work as a bounty hunter came back to her.
My daughter had a bounding company in Atlanta, Georgia, so I worked for her. Her and I used to go out hunting criminals.
Tabor believes if you fight, you have a fighting chance. With more local news, I'm Janet Rogers.
Ed Palestro inherited Frank's shoe repair shop in Hubbard from his father and has worked as a cobbler for the last 16 years. But he served the public in another capacity for even longer. Palestro has been a Hubbard City Councilman for more than 2 decades and at one time even served as the city service director. 32 total years of service.
Yeah, God, I can remember when we had money, there were so many things I did in this city. It was unbelievable. I had a treatment plant built for $20 million. That was one of the things I had. Then I was instrumental in building a new city building up there.
His proudest moment? A gift to the public that totaled $250,000 back in the 80s.
The biggest thing I ever did is we gave everybody in Hubbard free electricity one month in December.
But on Monday, Palestro is retiring. He says after plenty of major achievements, it's just time.
I'm 82 years old. I can't go much longer.
Palestro tells me he's leaving knowing he's accomplished his goals and feels he's made life better for the people of his hometown.
Don't forget, I've had more time up there than any mayor ever had. Ever. And you probably heard of McGee. Yeah. I even have more time than him.
The man with quite the personality says he will now spend 8 hours a day catching up at his shoe repair business, hoping the window to Hubbard's future will be as productive as its past. With more local news, I'm Michelle Nix.